We're going to be looking at keyboard shortcuts, just basic ones that I use a lot. I might miss a couple, and we'll learn those as we go along later on in the tutorial, but we'll get whatever we can get in right now. So before we get into that, real quick, let's look at this panel right here. The Explorer window. They have a couple of buttons up here to help you browse one level up. Also to refresh your browser window. If you updated a folder in your browser window with a file or something, you hit refresh and then it'll automatically appear. There's a new folder button right here that will basically create a new folder in the drive and or folder that you're currently in. There's a delete button to delete a folder, and you can add folder to your favorites that shows up over here. That'll help you just browse quicker. But one thing I wanted you to pay attention to is the auto preview button. Make sure you have that on. When that is on, if you highlight any type of file in the Explorer window, you'll get a preview over here. And that's kind of cool. So you'll see what file it is. So if it's image, you'll see the image. If it's video, it'll start playing the video clip. If it's audio, it'll start previewing the audio. So now let's get into the keyboard shortcuts. So let's start out with some really basic ones that pretty much travel across the board with any Windows application. And that's save, Control S. Basic edit functions like cut, copy, and paste. So we have cut right here is Control X, copy is Control C, paste is Control V. So let's say we wanted to copy this right here. Let's cut a piece of this file, and to slice a file you'd hit S for slice. There goes another keyboard shortcut for you. If you go to edit, you will see it right here, split S. Let's say we have this little clip right here and we wanted to copy it. Once you have it highlighted, you hit Control C to copy. Then you'll move your cursor to where you want to paste it, and you hit Control V and it'll automatically paste it. Okay, so all this stuff is in the menu, but we're gonna try and get you guys using keyboard shortcuts because it's way faster, and we're all about speeding up the workflow, streamlining the workflow. Once again, copy, paste. If you keep hitting Control V, it'll keep pasting. Now, if you want to cut and paste, you would just highlight one of those and Control X, and Control X will cut it, and then you can move the cursor to another spot, Control V again to paste it. There's one that I usually don't see a lot of people use, and it's Shift B. And that's to build a dynamic RAM preview. That is somewhere up here. Here it is. Build dynamic RAM preview, Shift B. And what that is sometimes when you're editing, let's say we have this at the highest resolution. So we're viewing this back at the full resolution of whatever the project is. And then you might have like some effects. Let's say we put an effect on this. Let's do something simple, like 100% black and white. And then we have some crossfades. When you go to play that back, it might get a little jumpy at times. See, we totally missed that crossfade right there that went into this clip. So you want to view that back in real time to actually see what it's gonna look like before you render it, to make sure, you know, something like your crossfade effect is not too long or too short, and just make sure everything is correct. So you'd hit Shift B, and that's gonna do a quick RAM preview. So once the RAM preview is done, now you can play it back and it'll transition smoothly. See, we don't have any hitches or stops on the screen there. So the RAM preview is great, you know, to preview your effects, your transitions, your crossfade sections. Even if you have some sound effects that you're trying to match up with your video, motion graphics, you know, stuff like that, to help aid the video, you want to do your RAM preview to make sure that you're seeing everything in real time, seeing it as it's going to be when it's rendered. So that is Shift B. I use that one a lot. Zooming in and out on a timeline. You can use the middle mouse button, which is the mouse wheel, your scroll wheel. As long as you click on the timeline, you have the timeline highlighted. You roll your mouse wheel up or down. Down zooms out, up zooms in. Sometimes you need to zoom in quickly. You can also use the arrows on your keyboard, up and down arrows, to zoom in and out also. To move the cursor on the timeline, the play marker on the timeline, you can use your arrows, left and right arrows. If you're zoomed all the way in, it's gonna move 1 frame at a time. Okay, so let's say you wanted to move a piece of footage on your timeline, audio clip, video clip, image, what have you, but you want to nudge it like, you know, a couple frames at a time, 1 frame at a time. You can use your number pad. Use the arrows on your number pad, which is left would be 4 and right would be 6. And you just hit that, whatever clip you have highlighted, hit 6, move it forward, hit 4 to move it backwards, and it'll be moving at 1 frame each time you hit that button. So another quick shortcut that we have here is being able to speed up and slow down footage. There's a quick way to do that. So let's take a look at this 3-second clip. She's writing. Alright, so if you go right to the end of the clip and your cursor turns into that little box with the 2 arrows pointing left and right, hold Control, and now you see you get that little squiggly line. Click and drag to the left, and that's gonna speed up the footage, because what it's doing is it's gonna play that same 3 seconds in a shorter amount of time. So now that speeds up the clip. And see, now my video got a little bit stuttery, so I'm gonna do the Shift B to get a RAM preview, and now it plays smoothly. So now you see she's writing much faster. And if we extended the footage, we can see more of that. Let's do a quick RAM preview. There we go. If we went to the edge and hold Control and dragged it forward, it'll slow everything down once you do that, because now you're spreading 3 seconds of footage over a 7-second period. So it slows everything down and we get some slow motion going there. Okay, so here's another quick tip. When you hit the space bar, it's gonna start the playhead moving, and you hit stop, it's gonna stop, but it stops and it jumps back to where it originally started from. So if we started playing here, we hit play, stop, it jumps back there. If we started playing here, we hit stop on the space bar, it stops, it goes back to the beginning. Sometimes you're trying to scrub through footage on the timeline and you want it to stop where you stopped it. What you can do is you use the enter key on your number pad. You can use that to play and stop. But in this instance, when you hit play and then you hit stop with the enter key, it will stop it where you stopped it. So if you're trying to find a specific spot to stop and cut, that's what you want to do. You want to use the enter key on your number keypad. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the keyboard shortcuts that I'm going to go through right now. There are tons more, some that I'm probably not remembering, some that I don't use that much, and we'll get into them, you know, further on in later tutorials when I have to use them. But also you can go to help, the help menu, open up content, go to search, do a search for shortcuts, hit list topics, and you'll see shortcut keys. Double click on that and you will get a bunch of shortcuts. They have the list for the different categories and they're all here. There's a lot and they're very helpful. Of course, it streamlines your workflow and it saves you a lot of time. So that's it for this chapter, and we'll be moving on to the next one.